Ken and Michael back for the Shot of Business Central and a Beer. This is effectively the shot segment, not just Shot of Business Central and a Beer. Not too many new updates this month, and I don't expect next month's release to be any different, just because of the looming 2021 update. Although there was the update 17.4. Now, whatever I was reading, I saw that the only new feature is the addition of a telemetry for API endpoint authorization scheme.
Maybe you were drinking too many of these bourbon barrel stouts.
Maybe. I'm actually going to move on to my second one here pretty soon. But other than that, I saw that there's really only hot fixes, about 40 or so. Now, I know Ken logged onto a web page today, and he found something that is new with the 17.4 update.
Yeah, this was announced on February 8th. With 17.4, use recurring journals to allocate balances by dimension values. So, I don't know how many people this relates to, but if you're using recurring general journals on a regular basis, there is a recurring method field that's always existed, and there's some new options. It's BD balance by dimension, or RBD reversing balance by dimension. So BD is balance by dimension, RBD reversing balance by dimension.
Wow, acronyms from Microsoft.
So yeah, who would have thought? So there's some new types of recurring recurring journal options available to you that do allocations by dimensions. So some additional tools there. And then also some news about some additional improvements that they've slowly been rolling out with Business Central and Teams.
Yes, you were saying that it's general availability for the public?
Yes, it's officially gone out of preview mode and into general availability. I think that legally means something within Microsoft, right?
But to us, not really.
But really, I don't know what it means.
No, but that's good. I mean, it's out there for people to use it.
But they fixed some things. I think if you had been using it at all, you probably noticed some improvements. There were some issues with the URL slowly expanding on certain devices, or right. There were some issues. So languages, other things that they've improved and added.
I can tell you one issue that I had with it, and I'm hoping maybe they fixed it, is once you entered your username to connect it into Teams, it was a real pain in the you-know-what to switch usernames for your Business Central. So if you logged in at joe@abc.com, that Business Central environment, if you wanted to change it to joe45@abc.com for a different environment, it was virtually impossible. I mean, I tried uninstalling the app in Teams and whatnot, so yeah. I'll have to check it out. Maybe they fixed that too with this 17.4. Who knows? All right, so what else we got here? I see that basic authentication removal for Business Central Online has been postponed until April 2022. And this is basically because Microsoft has seen that some integrations need more time to move from the web service access key to the O authorization style.
Yeah. So I hear people, the user community was in an uproar, and Microsoft heard you, and they said, fine, we'll leave it in for a while longer.
All those hits brought down the website. Also, one other thing I have here is it is finally time to switch your Dynamics 365 Business Central browser to the new version of Microsoft Edge. We talked about it in the past, that Microsoft is going to remove Internet Explorer 11 and Microsoft Edge Legacy from their list of preferred browsers. This is now definitely happening on April 2nd, 2021. So you've got a month and a couple weeks to update your browsers.
Yeah, and I think a lot of small to mid-sized businesses generally shouldn't be an issue.
No.
Right? But I have seen some companies where there's other reasons why that's not so easy, right? There's reasons why they have to run these versions of browsers due to integrations with some other system that they're running.
Yeah.
And that gets tricky.
Or occasionally you come across the company who's running Windows XP and still using Microsoft.
Yeah. 7.0, Internet Explorer 7.0 or something.
Just because it works.
Right. But, the good thing is there are multiple options. So it's like, fine, then use your Internet Explorer 7.0 for this, but let's use Chrome on a different device or just Chrome in general for Business Central.
Right, and I think obviously the newer versions run better with mostly everything. They're faster for web browsing and whatever. So you can't go wrong updating as long as I guess your system can handle it.
Yeah.
So one more thing. This is maybe a little bit different, but we've talked about in the past some of the downfalls that we have with AppSource and the billing and the customers or whatnot. So came across this article and it was basically titled, "Is Microsoft going to be updating their commerce options to reinforce co-selling?" And I did a little research, and I want to read some quotes from some of these Microsoft people. And according to Gabriella Schuster, who is the corporate vice president for the One Commercial Partner division at Microsoft, Microsoft plans to open direct commerce capabilities for ISVs in its marketplaces. So what does this mean? Well, according to another Microsoft spokesperson, the model will support a variety of ways for ISVs to design offers. The update will apply to both AppSource and Azure Marketplace. So I'm hoping, that this means that they're going to maybe adopt finally the mobile phone strategy. I call it the mobile phone strategy for AppSource, where they handle the billing and all that.
You're interpreting that. I was going to say that is a really general announcement.
I agree.
That quote that you said there is basically like, yeah, we're working on it. Right?
Excuse me, yes. So, with that though, Gabrielle Schuster also reportedly said, opening up the value of our entire ecosystem to our ISVs and enabling our partners to pull those applications from the marketplace right into their CSP catalog and sell on behalf of those partners. A feature we're delivering is the ability for ISV to add margin or incentives to partners they select through our marketplace through a CSP, and then, yada, yada, yada. So what I take from this is they're hearing what people are saying. They want to actually finally start making changes. Now, whether or not they make the changes that we want or that other people want, who knows? But I've got my fingers crossed that.
Yeah, all kidding aside, it is promising, right? That there's, that they're working on improvements to how companies out there can purchase apps for Dynamics products.
Yeah.
So that's good news.
And maybe you heard this in the news and maybe you didn't. Maybe I got it wrong. But I think I heard that Apple is currently in court in North Dakota about app developers wanting to actually have control over how they bill the customer. So yeah, complete opposite. Yeah. So when I was reading about it, I was like, oh man, this might not be too good here. So we'll see what happens in how the court rules. But
yeah, I think maybe that goes to the fact of how much revenue they lose to Apple, right?
Right.
Apple has like a virtual monopoly, right, on that, and they I don't know what the percentage is that Apple gets of every single app sale.
But it's
I think it's a pretty high percent, and some app developers aren't happy about that because they feel like they deserve the vast majority of that revenue.
Right.
And Apple's taken a huge cut. So I think that is important. If we go to that point where companies can go on to Microsoft AppSource and they can purchase apps for their Dynamics solution and do a kind of a global billing through Microsoft and have one bill, that will become an issue of what percentage is Microsoft taking if they replicate that Apple model.
Yeah.
Of each developer's revenue, what percent are they taking? It has to be a reasonable percent.
Well, of course. I mean, they've got to pay people to do the work too, or whatnot. So.
Just creating the platform, supporting that platform, remitting payments to partners, collecting payments from customers. Yeah, absolutely. There is a huge value, and just having that centralized place, marketplace, to sell those, to search for apps and the marketing tools to get your name out there. There's huge value in that. So that's a debatable topic, but it has to be a reasonable percent.
Yeah.
That is, the vast majority has to be going back to the developer. Microsoft takes a piece, right? It's in their best interest to keep that relatively low because they want to develop and nurture that marketplace to make sure that developers see a big revenue opportunity there.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think if Microsoft were to take ownership of that, I think you'd see the amount of apps double pretty quickly on app stores, just because people develop the apps, they don't have to worry about the back end, how to charge people, how to
license it, enforce it.
Exactly. I think you'd see a lot of the apps, the amount of apps double, and the quality of apps would probably change too. So.
Yep.
All right. Next up, I know is one thing you are better prepared to talk about, and it is, I guess effective February 1st, 2021, configuration component changes will be made in the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central on-premises essentials and premium licenses. Can the name get any longer?
I know. Good gravy.
God.
Yeah. So what they're saying is this reads a little like Greek. It's not 100% clear, but what it basically looks like is when you're running Business Central on premise, you still have this idea of custom objects that apply to your development, even when you're developing in extensions, which is something that I don't know that people realize, right? Because in the newest versions of Business Central, you're not developing objects. You're developing extensions using Visual Studio Code and AL. So, but the idea of these custom objects, historically for NAV, it was, you get 10 tables, and those are numbered 50,000 through 50,009 are the object numbers, right? You get 100 pages, 100 queries, 100 reports, 100 XML ports, and those are all in this 50,000 range. And it looks like they're adding, effective February 1st, an additional 10 code units, is what I'm gathering out of this.
Yep.
And so you get 20 code units. And so if you're running Business Central on-premise and you're active on the enhancement plan, effective February 1st, you can request a new license from your partner, and then you will automatically have 20 code units available.
At no cost.
At no cost to you. So an additional 10 code units is what they're adding. And I think, that the 10 additional code units is the dollar cost of those there is a cost. You do have to purchase those custom objects. Again, even if you're, but what I don't know that people know is that, even though you're developing extensions, not objects, you still have to have these custom references available, and they get used and referenced in an on-premise environment. Whereas in Business Central Online, when you're running on Microsoft's cloud, getting updated every month, in that framework, the concept of those object numbers doesn't exist.
Right.
It's unlimited, and that right there, my friend, is a reason why you may want to deploy Business Central Online. Right. If you're going to be building a bunch of custom stuff, especially tables and things, you may be better off going to BC Online. And I'm going to tie this back into, again, one of the new features that's coming out in 2021 Wave 1, which is the ability to add indexes to tables. So again, if the reason you were thinking you wanted to be on premises because you have this huge database and you needed to make custom keys on tables for performance purposes,
right.
Now in Business Central Online, you actually can add custom keys to standard tables as extensions.
Which
And
speeds up time thousandfold.
So that means, you got 1 million ledger entries and you were worried about being able to quickly filter on a custom field that you added. Well, now you can add a key to that ledger table using that custom field, and now the performance is going to be suitable. And again, I don't want to get that's. I know it's technical and kind of in the weeds, but that's a major improvement.
Oh yeah.
With 2021 Wave 1. So, as a matter of fact, even customers that are on premise running Business Central, there's a motivation there to upgrade to 2021 Wave 1.
Just because of performance.
Performance purposes.
Yeah.
If you've been experiencing that so far.
Pretty good.
Whew.
You got through it. So I've got one more honorable mention. It's not Business Central specific, although it ties into Business Central, and that is Microsoft, aka Power BI, has been named a leader again in the 2021 Gartner Magic Quadrant for analytics and BI platforms. And if you actually look at the Magic Quadrant, it looks kind of like it did last year. Microsoft and Power BI is by far and away the leader in, as a visionary and
execution.
By far and away. So.
Yeah, and that is so great for us because not only, Power BI is a great reporting solution, and you can use it with other apps. So even if you're not running Business Central, if you're not running Business Central, I'm not sure why you're listening to us right now. I guess, but maybe you're running Nav. I should say Nav or Business Central, right? But you can use Power BI with anything, but it's built into Business Central, right? And now is like our go-to reporting solution. Right. So having the best business intelligence and data analytics solution in the market built into Business Central as the reporting solution.
As they say in the past, it's the cat's meow.
You got it.
You can't get much better than that. So
no.